Well, it's done and it's over now. You know, we finished the massive congress in Marrakech, Morocco. And at the congress, I announced that I was withdrawing, and so were all the nominations from Ghana, which gave a clear right of way to President Khalid Babu to become the president of Africa Rugby. And people have asked me why. Why did I do that? And I said, have you heard of the greater good? It doesn't mean that one believes necessarily that they shouldn't have been president, but the greater good. Africa Rugby is beset with a number of problems. There are issues for unity, which President Babu, like me, he wishes to be called Babu and not president, same as I in Ghana. As you know, we don't say President Herbert Mensah. It's just Herbert Mensah, Herbert HM, whatever you choose. But Africa Rugby has been beset with a number of problems, and unity is one. Anglophone versus Francophone, Arab Francophone against Anglophone. And he's very keen to unite that. This battle would certainly have brought a greater divide. That's on one side. Secondly, he has a team, not my team. And therefore, if we had all gone in, it would have meant that our team would have mixed with his in terms of his greater vision. And for me, there didn't seem to be any point. I'm not one for saying one needs to be the leader of anything. It's about really what is the best way forward. I have a clear agenda, and that is that sports these days is big business. If you cannot raise money, you cannot be an effective administrator. And you need to have systems and programs and plans in place to do that, which is what we would have had for Africa Rugby. And I think that President Babu recognizes that as well. So we've taken a step back. And in taking a step back at the Congress, as soon as I said I was withdrawing from the presidency, the vice presidency, removing the treasurer, our ladies representative, and everybody else from the fray, Babu jumped up, embraced me, held my hand up for the Congress, and everybody was just stunned. I'm not quite sure why stunned, because it is in our nature to be strong, to be passionate, to be different, but certainly not to allow egos to be at the forefront of where we want to go. We're interested in a review of the Constitution. We're interested in ensuring that there is a global standard that is set for Rugby Africa. That comes from compliance, which Ghana has been at the forefront of. And I found it interesting that at the Congress, 4 or 5 countries, slightly smaller in terms of their achievements, came up to us and said, look, Ghana, can you please help us? We want to do what you have done in the last 3 to 4 years. And I think that is the ultimate compliment for everybody. But notwithstanding that, it's important that people realize that I'm clear. Ghana Rugby does not belong to me. I'm just simply a custodian for the time being. And then I will leave and somebody else will take it over. And then they will continue along a line. If there's consensus, then hopefully what we are doing is what somebody else will continue and make even better. So decisions that I took in Marrakech is not about Herbert Mensah. It's about Africa Rugby. It's about Ghana Rugby. It's about the present future. Our union as Africa is cash-strapped. And I think that should be at the forefront of everybody's mind. It's certainly at the forefront of my mind. And I've made that very clear. So constitutional review. Bring us up in terms of global standards, which means that things that we have applied, I think we were the first in Africa, our Scrummit database for players and player management, tournament management, and everything else, is something that should be applied and adopted for the whole of Africa. And if we can do it, get involved, make sure it's free for the whole of Africa, that will be a massive, massive bonus. Then we can start to look, greater transparency, greater communication between Africa Rugby and its members. So we don't have decisions taken that we're not quite sure what and why. There are some great people on the board, and I really hope that the likes of Yuri from South Africa as the General Secretary will remain. He will not pass it on to somebody else. And there are others as well who bring a wealth of experience. I'm glad that Guidel from Senegal is still on the board. And it's up to Babu to manage this in the best interests of Africa and his own legacy that he will leave hereafter going on. And all I can say is I wish them the very best. Ghana is stronger. They have offered me a place on the board, which I will attend. And if advice is sought, and Babu has made it clear that he will be seeking me as one of his prime sources of assistance and on consult, I'll be more than happy to give. Certainly I move in a certain direction. I'm not the easiest to work with, everybody knows that, but very clear and defined. And we have a track record of success administratively in football, in rugby, and in other things we're doing. And if President Babu feels it necessary and feels that there is something to be gained, which he does at the moment, then we'll be more than happy to give. We all have to think, pray, and think in the right direction for the unity of Africa. That's what's most important. Certainly not me.